All right, welcome back, you guys. So on this assignment, 268 is we're going to develop our own function right here. So we have a lot of freedom to work. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do, okay? But is this something that you have to do on your own? It is not. You can do one function as long as you call the main function, and then you're going to be good. So here's the thing for what I'm going to be doing is I'm not going to do anything in the main function except call out my customized functions. That's it. Okay, now I'm going to be creating two functions, which you're going to be seeing. I still need the main function run. Right now it's on line 7, but as I add more code, of course, it's not going to be on line 7. For example, I'm going to put in a couple functions right here on lines 4 and 5, and so already that changed where the main function is being run or called out. Okay, now having that up here, so you should have an idea of what you want to do. Okay, so I'm going to relate all of my functions on Bacon. Okay, so I'm going to base it also on assignments that we have already done. For example, we did the guessing number game, the guessing game, and then also there was the other assignment, which was let's see, I'm going to do one based on the guessing game, and then kind of it was the one with the party, and I forget what it was called, but I also don't care. Okay, but if you remember, that's fine. I think it was called create a story, whatever. But I'm going to create two functions, and I'm going to call them out inside of my main function, which I do need to do. If you're going to make a function, then you should call it out somewhere. Right now I'm going to call it in the main function, even though later on when we start coding with P5 Play, it does essentially work this way, but there are some functions like the setup function and the draw function that we don't necessarily have to run anywhere specific. It just knows that it needs to run. Okay. So again, I told you already that all my functions are going to be based on something to do with Bacon. So I'm going to say function, and we're going to, since I say I'm going to do it based off of the user's some kind of guessing game, right? So I'm going to say user. We're going to go with user Bacon function. Open parentheses, close parentheses, space, fancy brackets, and then I got the closing of my fancy brackets, which we do need. Okay, so that's going to be my first one, and this function right here again is going to we're going to get an amount of bacon from the user, and then we're going to call it out up here. So I have a function on line 9. I put that in, so I would run the code just to make sure there are no errors. And since I have a function, even though it's not being run, now I am going to run it. Now, what is the name of the function? It's called user, capital V, Bacon. I'm using camel case right there, open parentheses, close parentheses, and that right there on line 4 is the calling out and running of my user Bacon function inside the main function. Okay, now that is one function. The next function I'm going to be using is going to tell the user how much bacon I have. So again, tell the user how much bacon I have. By the way, I'm going to make sure that this is always going to show more bacon than the user has. Okay, so function, and we're going to call this the my bacon function. Open parentheses, close parentheses, fancy brackets, close fancy brackets. Okay, now again, I've made that function right there. You should run the code, make sure it works. I'm going to come back up here to line 5 and run my bacon function right there. Open parentheses, close parentheses, semicolon. Okay, so that sets it up. Whatever I put into these two functions now, when the program runs the main function here between lines 2 and 6, and I'm not going to add any more code there, by the way. But once it gets there, I'm not going to add more code, but the program, it's going to run these no matter what, but it's just waiting and saying, hey, look, I know you want me to run these functions, but you haven't told me, you haven't said or put anything inside those functions. So that's what I now need to do. Okay, so in my users bacon function, again, this is kind of based on a, well, let's see. Yeah, well, let's see. How do I want to do this? Tell the user how much bacon I have and get an amount of bacon. Again, this is the creativity part. You got to do whatever you want to do. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So we're going to ask the user for an amount of bacon. Okay, so ask the user for an amount of bacon strips. How about that? Okay, so we're going to say let, and we're going to go with what the heck guess right here. Space equals space, and I'm going to ask the user for something, right? So I'm going to go with read int because I want a number of bacon strips. Open parentheses, open quotation marks. How many bacon strips do you want? Question mark, close quotation, close parentheses, semicolon. So that should run, and again, you can run that right now and see what it does. It should come out with a pop-up box, and it's just going to say how many bacon strips do you want. They're going to put in there whatever, however much bacon they want. Okay, so now I said it should have been a guess, right? So, yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and display a message. So I'm going to go with console.log, open parentheses, open quotations. Welcome to the bacon guessing game. Exclamation point. Close quotations, close parentheses, semicolon. Right, now we'll ask the question. Can you guess how much bacon I have? Question mark. Oh, and then now we could even do something like this. We could say, or maybe we put it before, right? We say console, just like we did in the guessing game before. Open parentheses, open quotations. I have between. Now I got a space and quotation, and then I need a variable which I have not defined yet, which I'm going to do. I have between a low or low bacon plus quotations space and space quotations plus space, and then we'll go with high bacon on this one. Space plus space, quotations, period, quotations, close parentheses, semicolon. Okay, so again, notice what I did. I kind of said, hey, can you guess how much bacon I have? And then I realized, oh, I need to introduce the guessing game to them, right? Because that's what I said I was going to do. Welcome to the bacon guessing game. I have between low bacon and high bacon. And so can you guess how much bacon I have? How much bacon? Yeah, that looks like everything's spelled correctly. So up here at the top, what I'm going to do is I'm going to declare my variables up here. Universal variables right here. And I need my two bacons right here. Low bacon. Oh, I need let, right? Because they're variables. Oh, man, I almost forgot. Let low bacon, capital B, space equals space. And, you got to have some bacon. So we're going to start with 1. And then we'll let high bacon, space equals 50. How about that? 50 is quite a bit of bacon, but still not enough for me. And notice what I did right there. I put in some code, and then I realized that I needed extra code up here at the top. Remember, for my variables, low bacon and high bacon, we need those above where they're being called out and ran, because the program is always looking up in the code in order to find them, which is why also we put our universal variables up here at the top. Okay, now at this point I can start displaying some values. So let's see, we'll say, oh, you know what we're going to do? Just because I don't want you to feel like you have to use that randomizer code from before. Here's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put in a note, calculate one more than the user entry and store this in a new variable. Okay, so here's my new variable. Let actual bacon, space equals guess. That's the number from before on line 17, but I'm going to add 1. So if they're going to be close by 1 piece of bacon all the time. Yeah, we'll just go with there. Oh, you know, with that, I guess you wouldn't necessarily need low and high bacon right there, but I'm going to keep it at that. Like I say, right here, if you wanted to just take these out right here and just change this stuff right here, you can, but it's not necessary that you do, okay? So notice what I did there in line 2 and 3. If you wanted to get rid of these without deleting them, you can just do a double slash, and it will keep that code, but also nullify it so it's not actually something that's part of the code. Certainly not something that's going to be used or seen by the user. So I got my let actual bacon equal guess plus 1. Now, of course, if they guess on the high end at 50, it'll be like, oh, the answer was 51. I don't really care about that. I don't need conditional if statements right now because that's going to be stuff that we're going to be doing later. And then right here, I can display, show the user that they were so close. Okay, so right here, I'm gonna give myself an empty line. So we're gonna, again, this is really just a console log, console.log, open parentheses, open quotations. Actually, I don't want quotations. I just want an empty line right here, just for formatting purposes, so that when we do get this printed out, it looks pretty nice. And then we're going to go with console.log, open parentheses, open quotations. Oh man! Exclamation point. You were so close. If I can spell close, comma. The actual number was space, close quotations, space plus space, and then we'll go with actual bacon all in one word right there, right? With the capital B, space plus space, quotations, period, close quotations, and close parentheses, semicolon. Now, of course, that's gone on to the next line, so I'm going to have to make this just a little bit smaller. Let's go with 19, see if that works. Yeah, there it is. Oh, I've misspelled log. Look at that right there. Yeah, don't misspell log. We need that spelled correctly. So this is going to be a message. Oh, man, you were so close. The actual number was this. And you could put bacon right there then. I'm just going to leave it, though. Actual bacon, right? That's the one that we had right there. So yeah, here's what else we can do. Console.log, open parentheses, open quotations. You were only off by 1. You guessed, and this is where again I'm just going to show what they guessed. You guessed space quotation space plus space, and then what was it? It was guess, right? Space plus space, quotations, another period, close quotations, close parentheses, semicolon. Now, if we want to, we can add a little bit more here, just for the user's sake. Console.log, open parentheses, open quotations. Don't give up. Try again. Exclamation point, close quotations, close parentheses, semicolon. And since it's going to run this user bacon right here first in my main function, what I'm going to do at the bottom of this, I'm going to give myself a couple empty console logs just for formatting purposes, just like I did on line 23 right there. So console.log, open parentheses, close parentheses, semicolon, and that right there completes my user bacon function right there. Now, I forgot to mention this, but as I put in every line of code, you should have been testing this out. I got a little bit carried away because I was having too much fun. But you should, like after I put in line 23, you should have tested it. After you put in line 24, test it. Make sure it works. If it doesn't work, stay on this line of code, figure out where your error is, figure out what it is, and then fix it. Same with all these other lines, 25, 26, 27, 28. Now that I have that and it is working, now I'm going to come down here to function my bacon. And then we're going to say up here, function my bacon. Let's see. What do I want to do? We'll say, we'll go with another variable here. Okay, so we're going to say, well, I'll ask the user. Ask the user. Let's see. I said this one will ask them. Ask the user for an amount of bacon strips. So we're going to ask the user how many bacon strips they want. So I remember I changed this a little bit, so I'm going to do it now. And here we go. We're going to let. So we used we have user bacon. I can't use user bacon again. We have guess. How much bacon? Notice I'm using 3 words on this, but I'm still using camel case. Space equals space, and we're going to go with read int, capital I, int, open parentheses, open quotations. How many bacon strips do you want? So remember, this was my original question. I'm just kind of coming back to that. Close quotation, close parentheses, semicolon. Okay, so this will store how much bacon they want into how much bacon, and then we're going to say, let's just do a calculation on this one. So calculate double the bacon right here. So this is going to be a calculation. Let's scroll down so we can see all of this though. Let double bacon, space equals space, and this is going to be their amount of bacon, so that's how much bacon, and then I space shift 8 space. Shift 8 is the multiplication sign. I'm going to multiply by 2 because, again, you can see on line 37 that the name of this variable is double bacon. So with that, now I can go down a little bit further to line 29, and then we'll tell them what double the bacon is, colon. All right, but that's all in a note. So notice the double slash. That's on purpose. Again, I'm putting notes in as I go because I want to see those notes. In case I ever need to come back and look at my code and think and see what I was thinking. So first line, console log, I'm just going to make this one blank just because I want the space. Then we're going to go with the message. Console.log, open parentheses, open quotations. That is not enough bacon, exclamation point. You need a double. Yeah, because it's double, not just more, double that bacon. Period, close quotations, close parentheses, semicolon. Console.log, open parentheses, open quotations, double your bacon would be space, close quotations, space plus space, and then we'll go with double bacon, space plus space, open quotations, space, strips of bacon, period, close quotations, close parentheses, semicolon. Now a little bit further down on line 43, we'll display another message. Again, I'm probably displaying a lot more than you'd want to. You don't really need very much for this assignment to give you credit, but that amount of bacon would be much better. That double the bacon, right? Close quotations, close parentheses, semicolon. Another console log, open parentheses, open quotations. Next time, ask for more bacon. Exclamation point, close quotations, close parentheses, semicolon. And then again, if you just want some space, just to make sure that it's going to turn out very well at the very end there, just give yourself an empty line. Now, notice again, I did the same thing. I should have mentioned this, but I was putting in lots of lines of code. I was getting a little carried away, probably because I love bacon so much. But after I put in line 34, you should have tested it. Made sure that it came out with this message to the user. And then line 37, again, it's not going to show anything, but it should not have had any errors. Same with line 40. It's not very much, but you need to make sure that it works. You saw that I had misspelled log earlier, or maybe even console, or forgot the dot. Make sure you test every line of code before you put in more lines of code. You put in line 41, test it, make sure it works. Put in line 42, test it, make sure it works. If it doesn't work, don't do more code. You need to make sure that the line of code that you're working on is working before you put in more code. That is going to save you a lot of time in trying to find your errors. Okay, this is going to work. Okay, so if you were to run this, it's going to work. It's going to work out very well, and that's great. So this is the assignment. I'm going to make this smaller just so everyone can see it. Let's see. That's not quite small enough. Let's try. Again, I know that's kind of small, but you might be able to zoom in a little bit. In any case, that is enough for this assignment to work. Now, I did two functions right here, right? I did user bacon function on line 13, and then I did line 32, which was my bacon function, and I called both of those out. You only need one customized function, meaning you could have only did the user bacon function or the my bacon function, and that would have been just fine. But I did two of them just to show you that it doesn't matter. And if you wanted to put more functions in there, you could. I don't need them, and so I'm not going to put any more in there. There's the code. Thanks for watching, you guys. See you later.